Hello there, this is LEGO Dynasty, and today I'm bringing you guys my review of the LEGO Star Wars Stormtrooper Mech. It is set number 75370 because of 138 pieces and is rated ages 6 and up. Now this set retails in the United States for $15.99 or in Canada for $19.99. Now without further ado, let's kick off this review, starting with the box. As you can see, of course, we have the mech front and center on what appears to be a Star Wars hangar bay, so definitely pretty nice there, and makes sense there. Of course, Star Wars mechs don't actually exist in the Star Wars universe, at least as of yet, so this is just a made-up LEGO set that LEGO's doing, as they have used mechs for Marvel, Ninjago, I presume some other themes as well, and now are branching into Star Wars. This is just your typical Stormtrooper, which isn't that exciting, and I'll just say it off the bat, this is not a great army builder at its price, unless you find it on a clearance at Walmart in the States for $4. Like I definitely wouldn't recommend army building this for your Stormtrooper army, but on its own, I think this is a pretty decent set. So with the box here, looks very nice, like I said, on the front. Back shows the Stormtrooper outside of the mech. Also shows the stud shooter gun that they created, which I think looks really freaking awesome if you ask me, to be honest. And quickly taking a look at the manual, rendered image on the front, which I will always say, definitely to me doesn't look the greatest, especially when it used to be the great box art that was just reprinted on, just a cost-time measure from LEGO. And then in the back you have the manual that features the other mechs, including the Stormtrooper Mech again, as this is just a generic page reprinted into all manuals that have for the Star Wars lineup. And then also, of course, some of the other sets that released alongside it. And this is what I was left for extra pieces. Of course, you have these three red studs that are meant to be used for the stud shooter, but then some other nice extra pieces as well. Next up, we have the Stormtrooper, and I have to say this guy looks pretty darn good for a Stormtrooper minifigure. Of course, this is the new standard one, but still very nicely done, I have to say. Really love the leg printing here, just looks fantastic. This torso print looks really good. And then you're left with a female face for the Stormtrooper, which is pretty nice. No double-sided printing on the character. You have the inside helmet, which is all black these days, which is pretty nice. And back printing also looks pretty excellent. Overall, your standard Stormtrooper, but definitely a nice Stormtrooper. Next, we will take a look at the overall mech build, and I have to say, I love this build. I really do. First things first, what stands out is this awesome printed Imperial emblem on the front. Like that alone, I can just see it now. Like this part alone is probably gonna be worth like $1 or something after this set. So tires, definitely very nice print. Awesome to see that they printed in a set like this, especially when some of the Marvel mechs do have stickers. That definitely, to me, really hampers the to me the good price of these sets. Especially to collect. Like I said, I really like that. The overall design, very nice. A little bit bulky on the legs, I have to say. It just definitely stands out quite a bit. But I still think it does the job. You have, of course, the awesome custom, or I say custom, but brick-built rifle here for the mech, which looks really cool. Love that it has the scope built in. I just think it looks awesome. Even though the scope pretty much can't see anything because of the stud shooter mechanism, but it's still really cool. Of course, like I said, as a stud shooter, you can fire it off quite easily, just pushing down on the back, and then quite easily to replace it back in, you just click it in. Very nicely done. Now, as I was mentioning, in the Darth Vader mech, you have these pretty standard pieces that are used in all mech builds these days. So these are pretty nice pieces, but they do not bend at all, so basically they're locked in place. So you do have movement of the legs and the feet, but you can't move these joints to bend those, which is a little bit disappointing. Definitely something I hope to see improved in the future. And that same part is used for the arms as well. So you can move the arms and have some movement of the hands. Now with the hand design of these mechs, you aren't able to hold any figure in these other parts here. So in some of the Marvel mechs, they have a big enough hand that you can fit a figure, but because of the design they chose, you are not able to do that with these Star Wars mechs. So that's just a feature that the other sets had that this one doesn't. Not a major deal, but definitely something to keep in mind. Now you do have these clips on the bottom, which you can use for the Stormtrooper gun. It's not really shown to use it like that, but just so you don't lose it when you place your Stormtrooper inside. Just like the Darth Vader mech, you have this part here that you stick your minifigure's legs into to lock him in place, and then you just close it up and he's good to go. Now he is quite exposed on the side, which is definitely okay. Like some of the other Marvel mechs I don't think have that issue where they actually cover it up a little bit better, but for this set it works fine. Now on its feet it is quite stable. Obviously if you lean it too far forward it's gonna fall, but generally I find you're not gonna have to worry about it tipping over, like the feet does keep it up if you put it in the right orientation. And that's basically it with the Stormtrooper mech. The LEGO Star Wars Stormtrooper mech, to me, is a pretty good set, though one that, again, I don't recommend army building for the Stormtrooper, even though this is the sort of figure you might say, oh, let's buy a bunch of these. Maybe a few, especially as it reaches end of lifespan, which I believe will be at the end of this year, you could consider it, but it's definitely one that I feel like isn't like the greatest for army building, and why I hope if they do these mechs, they do some of these, you know, more iconic characters rather than just a Stormtrooper. On its own though, I think this is really cool. Really love the, you know, printed Imperial emblem there, and I just think it looks really awesome next to some of the other mechs that I do have. But as I said in the Darth Vader mech, if you're not a fan of mechs, you're probably just not going to like this one, and that's okay. Definitely one you can pass on, but if you are a fan of the mechs, or you just want to get, you know, one Stormtrooper just to have, definitely a set I would recommend at its price point. Just one, again, don't recommend army building out of. With that being said, that's all my opinion. Let me know your thoughts on the LEGO Star Wars Stormtrooper mech in the comments down below. Are you guys a fan of the mech lineup, or do you hope they go back to some of the other builds they had, like the microfighter builds? Please leave a like and subscribe if you have enjoyed, and have a great day, everyone.